Noor El-Din Al-Hamouri. He's the chief market strategist at ADS Securities here in Abu Dhabi. And before we talk about Greece, let's just talk about Iran, because you don't hear an awful lot of sort of headline supportive comment about Iran here in the region, not least from the Saudis. However, behind the scenes, business is being done. What's the future for bilateral ties between these Gulf states and Tehran going forward?
Yes, well, I believe everybody is bracing for a good deal. But I mean, we've been waiting for such an event maybe for the past few years, especially after what happened in the region in terms of, let's say, in Iraq, Syria. We have also Yemen right now. So nobody is looking for more conflicts in the region. So everybody, or the interest of everyone, is just to stabilize the region as much as possible. And Iran is a big player in the region. So everybody, at least also the market, is bracing for a deal, because oil prices been dropping for the past few months, despite the fact that right now we're trading into a range ahead of such a deal, because right now there's a lot of questions, like whether if Iran will be able to produce oil and start to export immediately after, or if the sanctions are lifted. So for now we're still bracing for a deal, and especially if Iran will be able to produce oil immediately, that will be affecting the oil prices.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? What you hear on sort of the political rhetoric versus what's going on sort of at the coalface, as it were, and this region looking, it seems at least from your perspective, to bring Iran in from the cold. Let's talk about Greece. I'm fascinated to see how this story is playing out through the prism of the Gulf region. How much is invested in Greece and in Europe by investors here?
Well, we're not really exposed, like, in terms, let's say, the GCC or in Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or the UAE as a whole. We're not really exposed to Greece and even to the Greek situation as a whole. But the whole point right now is basically it was a shock for the Greek to vote against that. But at the end of the day, if it's a simple question, who would vote for austerity measure? If I ask you, like, we're going to come in and cut your salary by 25%, definitely you'll vote no, because you're going to refuse it. At the end of the day, it's a shock, like Greece ended up with this thing, but at the same time, it took the Euro Union 5 years to solve this one, and they couldn't do that until now. Yeah,
it's fascinating, isn't it? You don't hear a lot of talk of austerity in this region.
Exactly.
And if you did, you'd hear a lot about it. I mean, it would make the headlines.
That would be the difference between what happened, let's say the bailout from Abu Dhabi to Dubai a few years ago. But the difference was Dubai had no austerity. It was a shock and immediately bailed out by the Abu Dhabi.
You're talking about the bailout post-2008 of Dubai by Abu Dhabi. And that is, to a certain extent, I guess, a parallel to all intents and purposes as to what is going on in Europe, albeit a kind of on a smaller scale, although, you know, worth billions of dollars. I'm fascinated to hear from you as to whether you think any Greek exit of the euro might affect plans or perceptions about a single currency union that certainly we've heard much talk of in the GCC over the years. Little evidence that there is something substantive here, though.
Yeah, well, there is a possibility for a Greek exit, but at the end of the day, so far, if you look at all the headlines for the past few days, especially after also the referendum, everybody's telling you the same thing, that the Euro Union membership is irreversible. At the same time, the drachma right now is a possibility if the, let's say, the ECB or the European Central Bank didn't raise the ELA or the emergency liquidity for the banks. So the possibility for a Greek exit is possible, but at the same time, it is not an option for the Euro Union and Greece for now. But as for this region, again, we're not exposed that much, but at the same time, we have some sort of opportunities to invest in Greece, but with a very high risk and reward ratio. The risk is still there, but at the end of the day, we should not forget that the Euro Union idea is more than 50 years old. So for the Europe or for the European to break the euro, it's going to take them a long time to decide on this thing.
Let's see. A long time, a week is a long time in politics, they tell me. And this is going to be a very long week for Europe and the Greeks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Some news just coming in to CNN, and Greece is poised to get a new finance minister in just about 90 minutes. That is when the chief negotiator with Europe, Euclid Sakalotos, will take the oath of office. Controversial finance minister Yanis Varoufakis resigned today, saying, and I'm quoting here, "I shall wear the creditors' loathing with pride." The Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is working to renegotiate a bailout deal after voters backed his government in rejecting harsh austerity measures imposed by international creditors. Mr. Tsipras is expected to present